Yo! Hello and kamusta sa inyong lahat mga kababayan at mga kaibigan, friends around the world. Welcome to another video. We are having rain and wind here in the Philippines because of the super typhoon Christine that is crossing the northern part of the Philippines. So sa mga kababayan natin dito sa Bicol, especially Region 3, kung saan ako right now, Metro Manila, Region 2, and of course Northern Luzon, mag-ingat po tayo. Let's stay safe. If you have to evacuate, please do so, but please do so in a safe manner. We don't want any further casualties. There has been a lot of reported casualties already and damage, massive damage to property because of this super typhoon that is crossing the country right now. Anywho, in this video, we have a treat for you guys. I calculated Camellya's damage and I am excited to share the information that I found out to all of you. So based on what I've seen so far, Camellya appears to be a character that definitely can deal a lot of damage. And based on leaked videos of her gameplay, it appears that she can do it frequently and she can do it at a rate that is probably much faster than Gion's liberation. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's kick things off with a summary of her combat style. Do note, however, that I won't be revealing a lot about her kit. Of course, like we are also trying to operate with cool games with regards to leaks, but I will give you some snippets, just a taste, a tease of what it would look like or what it would feel like. So Camellya has two stages, okay? Dual level damage. One stage has a different set of damage. The other one has a much higher damage scaling. She is, at least for me, looks like a lethal hyper carry, but she can also be counted on in a quick swap team. There are certain elements combined in her. Like you can see a little bit of Changli, some bits of Jinshi, and of course of Jiyan. Now, for her damage, I would say it's comparable to Changli, but just slightly higher. Her nuke will come from her Forte and Liberation, and this is similar to Jinshi, and you know, a little bit with Changli. Now, with regards to the pace, she is gonna be very fast, very rapid attacks, and it's gonna be comparable to Jiyan's Liberation. Now, DPS will also come from her basics and resonance skill. She has a lot of damage potential from both of those skills, okay? Like from her BAs and from her Reso skill. She doesn't have, okay, as far as I know, as far as what I've seen, she doesn't have any support capability. She is designed mostly only to deal damage. And including her intro and outro skills, both will deal damage. For this calculation, I took a conservative approach. One thing that I did is I only accounted for her kit, her Sonata set, her echo, or her 4-cost echo, and her weapon. I did not account for any external buffs, for example, like from Verena or Baishi's attack buff or Sanhua's attack buff, for example. So those buffs are not included in the calculation. We are just accounting for whatever is on her kit. Of course, like if you add those in, her damage will scale much higher than the one that I will present to you. So I just want to point that out. Also, we are not going to go in depth with her kit. No, we're not going to do that. Also, note that this is a pre-release calculation, so there is still a possibility that her damage could go up, it could go down. So do take the information here with a grain of salt. But before we proceed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and also hitting that notification bell. And on that note, let's move on with her parameters. Our Camellya is going to be maxed at level 90, plus all of her talents are going to be at level 10. Total attack right now stands at 1,886 with elemental damage bonus of up to a total of 142%. Okay, crit rate is at 60, crit damage is at 200%. The weapon that I sampled for this one is her best in slot, the Red Spring, the Sonata set, Sun Sinking Eclipse, of course, for havoc damage. The 4 cost will be the Crownless because it also provides buffs to her kit, and we factored in enemy resistance and defense of 40%. Now, with regards to her crit, we are going to be using the crit factor here of 80%, which is derived from the formula here. Crit rate multiplied by the total of crit damage plus 1 subtracted by 1. Shout out to Aqua Gaming for his video explaining the damage calculations. If you want to watch that video, please check out the link in the description. I put it in there, so let's give him some love. Now, for the calculations itself, for the damage, let's start it off with her Nuke capabilities. And I'm talking about her Forte skill and liberation damage. As mentioned earlier, there are 2 stages to her damage. So for Forte Circuit's ephemeral damage, the blossoming damage is at 34,576. If it crits, considering the crit factor of 80%, it's gonna be at around 62,237. Now, when you reach the second stage called the budding stage, it's going to be at 51,864 without crit, and with crit, it's going to go up to 93,356. As for her liberation, her blossoming damage is at 32,943. It crits to 59,297. In her second stage, budding, it's going to be 49,414 with a crit of 88,945. So looking at this right now, I'm thinking, okay, she can deal more damage than Changli, but fewer damage than Jin Shi. Okay? The only question is, how fast can she deploy damage? How fast is her DPS? Now, I use 80% here for the crit calculation. What if instead of just 80%, let's go all out 200%? Well, I can tell you right now, like for her Forte skill, her damage is gonna go up to over 140,000. And that's despite having an enemy resistance and defense factor of 40% deducted into the final damage. So she will definitely nuke enemies, okay? And I won't be surprised if some players will prioritize her Forte skill and her Resonance Liberation, simply because of the nuking potential of both skills. But she can also DPS. Her Resonance skill and basic attacks are designed for her to deal a lot of damage per second. Her Blazing Waltz damage alone can deal up to 31,000, okay? And this is the one where she would spin around to deal massive amounts of damage to swarms of enemies. For the Blazing Waltz damage, do note that the numbers here is like the maximum. The individual damage is much lower than what is shown here, but I just don't want to reveal too much. So just imagine an amount of around, like, per hit is probably around like 1,000, maybe 2,000 or something. I would say like around 1,000 per hit, but it's so fast, it just happens in 1 or 2 seconds that any enemies around the area will definitely get hit by 1,000 damage, 1,000 points. Also, do note that the numbers for the crit, for example, is if all of them crits, but chances are it's not, so it's gonna be a much lower number. But here's the thing with the Camellya kit, like all of her damage, it's not just one hit. For example, how do I explain this? For every hit, there's always multiple damage numbers that are gonna show up in there. It's friggin' insane. Even her basic attack is very similar to her resonance skill, and it does almost the same thing. Her hit number 4 is almost similar to her Blazing Waltz damage. It's gonna show her spinning around like a top and dealing multiple damage to trash mobs. And the calculations I'm showing here is an aggregate number. So the number might actually be lower than this, but because of how many times she spins and deals damage, it's gonna look somewhere around this area here. Plus, with the crit rate factored in, or crit damage factored in, you can see huge numbers of damage happening at the same time. It's insane. And now we move on to the last part of her kit, her intro and outro skills. As mentioned earlier, she doesn't have, or she doesn't appear to have, or should I say, at this point, she doesn't have any support capabilities coming from her intro and outro. Well, outro mostly. So this is all damage for her intro and outro, okay? Now looking at all of these numbers and looking at the damage potential, the DPS potential, the nuking potential for Camellya, I'm thinking, it's really difficult to determine which parts of her kit you should prioritize. And this is mainly because she has so many sources of damage. If you want to go for a nuke build, then you should prioritize her Forte skill and her Resonance Liberation. But if you want to go DPS mode on her, then you have to focus on Resonance skill and her basic attacks, both of which can still deal so much damage. So whichever way you go with the Camellya, you're just gonna win. Is this power creeping? Maybe. I'm not 100% sure, especially like this is still, she's still early in her beta right now. But of course, like if you look at the pace, the speed of her damage dealing, then you could definitely say that, you know, she is a power creep version of, let's say, at least with Jian or maybe with Changli. So that's the video, and now we finally have a benchmark for Camellya's damage. So if you find this video helpful, entertaining, and whatnot, please do hit the like button there and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on future contents relating to Camellya. I am planning to put out more videos about this and maybe go further in depth into her kit without revealing too much about her kit itself. Okay, so there will be some more calculations in the future, how to build her, those kind of stuff. So please do subscribe to the channel. Also, we have a Discord channel now, so look up VeeDizzy Gacha Pub, and I will also include a link in the description for the Discord, so you might want to join us there and talk further about Camellya, or just simply hang out and have fun with all the gang. Shout out to Dark and Jimisu for helping out in developing this Discord. Huge help, guys. Thank you so much. Also, you may want to check out my daughter's channel, Stellamation. Link in the description as well, so go check it out and you know, subscribe to her channel as well. Stella is my littlest stream hijacker, although she's not that little anymore. She is actually quite tall now. So yeah, we probably need to change that name into the stream hijacker. But every time I go on stream, she is always there. She wants to support the channel. So anyways, that's it for this video. Maraming salamat po sa panonood. Thank you so much for watching. Babush, and I'm signing off. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!